God damn, I add one more time, loudly for good measure. Oh, don't stop. Gabriel pokes his head into the study. I love it when you talk dirty, Joy. Don't stop. He has smudges on his face and a feather duster in his back pocket. Are you aware that we have 17 weddings to go to between now and mid-September? I wave a handful of the offending invitations at him. I hadn't counted, but it makes sense. Gabe slouches against the doorframe. Beg to differ. It's totally senseless. Probably just a byproduct of everyone you know turning 30. Same thing happened to me a couple of years ago. To this extent? Well, no. 17? No. Gabe shrugs. Something like 5 in a year? Guess that's not quite the same, is it? Not quite. Hey, maybe someone dosed the national water supply. He laughs. A nation of brides. You remember that Cheever story where there's a costume party and people are supposed to dress as they wish they were? And all the women come in their wedding dresses and all the men come in their old football uniforms? Gabe, I'm going to throw up. Don't do that. The bathroom is spotless. He assumes the Olympic victory pose, chest thrust out, arms raised above his head. And the kitchen. I even defrosted the freezer. Truly uncommon valor. May I take you out for dinner? Hero sandwiches, veal medallions, army bratwurst. Gabe has an unredeemable fondness for puns, and the more like blunt instruments they are, the more pleased with himself he becomes. Not if you keep that up. Anyway, it's girls' night, he says. On cue, the phone rings, and I pick up. Hello, Henry, I say into the receiver. Hello, smartass, she answers. Henry is my best friend. By the grace of whatever forces govern student housing, she was assigned as my roommate freshman year at college, and my life hasn't been the same since. Henry, or Hank if you prefer, is short and shorter for Henrietta. God forgive her parents, who must have named her with some kind of eerie prescience about and totem against her magnificent beauty, though ostensibly it was after a great-grandmother. Henry, 6 feet 1 inch in stockings, with a body that would make Sports Illustrated swimsuit models gnash their little capped teeth in envy. Bales of blonde hair, Aegean eyes, an elegant nose, just slightly and winsomely too small for her face. A faint Louisiana accent, which she trots out at full strength for special occasions, etc. And, to the everlasting chagrin of red-blooded boys worldwide, she's a lesbian. Want to meet me early for a drink? Henry asks. No. That's my girl, she yells. I'll be there in half an hour. I hold the phone away from my ear. Give pretty boy my best, Henry says, and hangs up. Really, she likes Gabe well enough. And it's a fact that Gabe is possessed of those fine-boned, patrician good looks, only minutely removed from overt prettiness by a square jaw and a jaunty, assured, I just finished my rowing practice glow of testosterone. However, the first time we met, Hank introduced herself to me as, quote, swamp trash hauled dripping from the Louisiana bayou by a state scholarship fund and the kindness of strangers, unquote. So it's not a wild leap to say that class resentment may be the basis of a tiny grudge she bears my boyfriend, whose family, through absolutely no fault of his own, is listed in the social register. Hank sends her love, I tell Gabe, who is perched on the edge of my desk, flipping through the stack of invitations. This is going to be a season in hell. Nah, it'll be fine. He looks at my calendar. Inconvenient is all. And annoying. And expensive. Don't worry about that, Red. You can leave the wedding gifts to me. Just think of the dancing. We haven't gone dancing for months. Think of all the people asking when we plan to tie the knot. Opportunity for witty remarks. Gabe pushes his hair out of his eyes, languid and unperturbed. Bon mot bodybuilding. We'll find so many different variations on when hell freezes over. Thereby exposing ourselves to impertinent personal questions, peer pressure, and misguided ridicule. You're funny. Hey, I know what. Gabe snaps his fingers. We'll make a documentary out of it. Lifestyles of the White and Foolish? A sort of wildlife safari nature special. Mating rituals of the American upper middle class. You can be the fearless anthropologist, and I'll be the trusty cinematographer. He hoists an imaginary camera onto his shoulder and zooms in on my face. Here we see the intrepid adventurer Silverman approaching that most dangerous of all connubial creatures, the mother of the bride. She's made contact. Note the adventurer's mode of engagement here. Downcast eyes, limp-wristed handshake, demure manner, all deployed to communicate passive acceptance of authority and avoid being set up with one of the bride's horrible medical student cousins. Gabe sets down the invisible camera. In the end, I'll be attacked and devoured by a rabid band of bridesmaids, and you'll have to forge on bravely without me. Ah, look at that. I got a smile. Gabe, you're an angel. I love you too. He assumes the Olympic victory pose again. So, will you do that swearing thing some more when you get back from dinner? Gabe and I met, as it happens, at a wedding. It was the first I'd attended for one of my peers, and I went not so much out of affection for the couple as out of a slightly morbid curiosity. The invitation, issued by a semi-friend of mine from college, was printed in an ersatz Art Deco typeface. Guests were instructed to dress for the occasion in croquet formal. Thus, I found myself, along with Henry and our friend Joan, on a brilliant afternoon in mid-September in the nether regions of Long Island. We had traveled by rental car, getting lost twice, to an estate landscaped within an inch of its green life and featuring a built-to-order, very loosely Tudoresque mansion. There, we joined the crowds strewn across these rolling acres, several hundred guests, attired in white and off-white and ivory, adorned with straw hats and fedoras and cunning chapeaux with little veils, endlessly refilling fluted glasses at the champagne fountains and picking over mile-long buffet tables. To me, we looked like nothing so much as a herd of escapees from an insane asylum with a semi-formal dress code. In a show of good sportsmanship, my friends and I had bent to the sartorial dictates and arrayed ourselves in white tea dresses. Bonhomie ended when the bride, who had majored in theater, attempted to recruit us for the post-ceremony croquet tournament. We retreated to a small table in the dappled shade of several old trees, where we had an excellent view of an 18-piece swing band performing under a white canopied tent the size of a city block. "We are one giant fashion faux pas," Joan said, sighing. 3 weeks past Labor Day, and nothing but white shoes as far as the eye can see. Sweetheart, you can hardly see the end of your cigarette. Henry patted Joan's shoulder. There are champagne bubbles coming out your ears. Joan gave her a wicked grin, peered at the few drops of champagne remaining in her glass, and emptied them onto Henry's blonde coiffure. I heard a loud crack and watched a croquet ball roll by us. "What country, friends, is this?" I asked. "Who cares? Get a load of the natives." Joan nodded in the direction of the tent. "Hunk of burning love at 20 paces. We looked. Walking toward us was a tall, slender man in a pale linen suit, carrying a pair of empty champagne glasses. His nearly black hair curled in a forelock that fell across long-lashed, dark blue eyes. His mouth looked like an overripe valentine. As he passed near our table, he saw the three of us staring and paused. "A little more champagne?" The vision gathered up our glasses and headed off without waiting for an answer. We stared after him. "Good God!" Joan shook her head. "I could impale myself on those cheekbones and die happy." "He's a prop," I told them. "He came with the floral arrangements." "You really think a boy in a 3-piece suit is playing for your team?"